Cueing the intro, I think. Okay. Okay. We got the gameplay going. We got the gameplay going. Is it working? Mamacita. Please. 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 Okay. Is our audio recording? Yes, it's working. Pog, you idiots, we're here. Okay. Welcome to Gump's podcast, episode whatever. My name is indeed Kyle Gumper, and today I'm joined by Andy as usual. Hello, Andy. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. How are you? It's been a while.
It's been a while, and I'm doing great, thank you. So this is going to be hopefully the new format. I actually do think this is going to be nice and interesting, having gameplay in the background. These are long, extended clips, so they're not edited down because A, I don't have a computer, and B, ain't but nobody got time for that. I don't. I just don't. So it's just prolonged clips for the past fucking like a long time. This is like a 2.5-year-old clip. So anyway, let's get down to business. I'm excited to be talking about the Marvel Phase 4 announcements. Andy's going to be taking over that, but I'm so excited for the few announcements that came out. Andy, what is first on the list of the timeline?
So the first one that is coming out in May 1st, 2020 is the long overdue, much anticipated Black Widow movie.
Yes, yes. I am happy that she's getting her movie. I just feel like this one came a little too late. I'm still excited for the movie. I'm still gonna see it. I'm not gonna cry, complain about it, because one of my, I won't say favorite villains, but like I feel like underutilized villain is Taskmaster. I
Yeah.
love Taskmaster, and the few things I've seen him in, dude is a freaking badass. I love like in the Spider-Man PS4 game, the fact that we got to fight him, I thought that was so
Yeah.
cool. That was so well done, and I'm really, really excited to see this, especially Scarlett Johansson came out like a couple days ago stating that this is going to be a more grounded, more quote-unquote ugly movie, which does actually like hype up my anticipation a lot because I want to see how dark they're going to get with this. Because even with MCU movies, there's always that hint of humor. I want to see how far they're going to go with the darkness. Yes, we're coming off of Endgame, we're coming off of Infinity War, but I want to see something more grounded and gritty.
Yeah.
I want to see the MCU's Dark Knight. I'm not saying it's going to be as good as the Dark Knight, but I want to see something in that sense of tone. I think that's fascinating. Andy, what are your thoughts?
No, I'm very, very excited for this. When me and Jason did our podcast, which is coming out today on Phase 4, we talked about how the one thing that we're very, very excited about this is it's not taking place pre-Iron Man 2. The timeline for this movie is taking place in 2017, which is right after Civil War. And Jason brought up the point that this movie Black Widow really should have been the movie to kind of start Phase 3 instead of
Agreed.
start Phase 4.
Agreed.
But it's still very, like, I love the fact that we're not going extremely far back in time, because I think that's one of the things that kind of hurt Captain Marvel, is that she was stuck in the past. So, like, none of her story kind of tied into what was going on with Infinity War and Endgame. And so it kind of hurt her movie a little bit because she was kind of stuck in the past in the 90s. But this movie being in 2017, kind of like in the middle, right before Infinity War, they also said that her sacrifice playing Endgame is going to make a lot more sense after this movie, which I'm very, very excited for. I think we're going to get flashbacks, which is perfect. Because I'm one of the people that want to see like what took place, what happened in Budapest, because they bring that up a lot when it comes to her.
Yeah.
So I want to see what happens there. But like you said, the main reason why I'm excited for this movie is Taskmaster. I'm a huge fan. I'm very excited. The clip that they showed, they didn't reveal his character, but he looked freaking amazing. So that's going to be absolutely awesome to see him in a movie.
Yeah, agreed 100%. I think what they're going to do with the whole Budapest thing, I think it's not going to be a straight shot flashback. I think that it's going to
Right.
keep going back to it and her decisions.
I think they're going to go throughout the entire movie. I think that's going to be like the underlining thing in between in like the entire movie of
Yeah.
her before as a Russian spy, her being saved by Hawkeye, her actually joining Shield. Like I think that's going to be the underlining thing with the main mission going on at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's going to be playing out a lot like Deadpool, how that first movie played out,
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
think you can't just have it like, especially with Deadpool, because he's a fast-paced character. You can't just do origin, 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 then the fun stuff, because that's not how
right.
Deadpool works. He's, like I said, he's fast-paced, and it keeps the audience engaged. Sometimes it can come off lazy, just constantly going back to flashbacks, but if it's like if you don't treat it like a flashback, you treat it like, okay, you're telling two different stories, but you're intertwining them at once. I think
Right, right.
it can be really well, and it's not going to come off as lazy, because like when you just do simple flashbacks just to like push a story along, and it doesn't really amount to anything other than like, hey, this is what this flashback's for, this one particular reason, that can come off very lazy. But like if you treat it like the
Yeah,
Deadpool thing, it's for pacing. That's all
yeah.
that whole thing was. It was for pacing, because I think it'll be really nice. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with her, how dark they're going to go with it. I can't wait to see the
Yeah,
action too, because since this is a
yeah.
much more grounded thing, yeah, it's going to be
That's
fascinating.
one of the things I'm looking forward to the most is the action in this, and I'm looking forward to because one of my biggest complaints about Black Widow in the MCU is we don't really get to see her use like she's a great fighter, we know that, but we don't get to see her be a spy. The only time we've ever
Yes.
really like seen her be a spy was in Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And so we haven't really seen her be a spy since then. And so I'm really hoping that we dive into like her ability as a spy. We know she's a great fighter, and I'm looking forward to the fight scenes. I just want to see the nitty gritty of her being a spy and using her skill set to, do things like that. That's the thing I'm looking forward to the most.
And I definitely want to see some like, I know she used the word ugly, and I don't want her to just say that word just to be like, oh, this is so dark. Like I want to actually see the
Right.
ugly side of Black Widow, because she's a
Yeah.
very complex character, probably one of the more complicated ones outside of Tony. I
Yeah.
think if anything, I think she's more complicated than Tony. She's got a really dark side to her, like
And we
the
don't
thing.
know a whole lot about her either, which is
Yeah,
like we know just enough to keep the intrigue, but we don't know because about like with Tony, we know everything about him. We know why he's where he was at. We know how he got to that point. But with Natasha, she just kind of showed up in Iron Man 2, and you don't really get to see her go through the struggle of being a Russian spy into where she was at Endgame. And so that's why I'm like, that's kind of like you were saying, this is like the most intriguing thing about her movie is seeing her character growth in this one movie, but it's been over like 4 phases as well.
yeah, agreed. Okay, I think we talked about Black Widow just enough. Okay, what's next on the list?
Next is the first Disney Plus show, which is coming out in the fall of 2020, and that is The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. Okay, I am really excited to see what they're going to do with these Disney Plus shows. I am pretty sure it's going to be like one and done. Like if it's 10 episode, like hour each, or like 7 episode, whatever they're going to do. I'm excited to see where they're going to take it. I'm pretty sure this is all the Disney Plus shows, if I'm not mistaken, is all after Endgame. Is that correct?
Not all of them.
Which one's
Um,
before?
well, not before. The Loki one is the only one that's like technically after Endgame, but it's like a different timeline.
Yeah, because it like yeah, yeah,
His show is like when he takes the Tesseract and disappears, so it's going to be like the 2012 Loki on, but a different timeline. So technically they're after Endgame, but that one's kind of like the only one that's not necessarily after Endgame.
yeah, I know what you mean, because like the whole thing was just like, yeah, you got to put them back so you don't create new realities, and they create.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
in that entire movie they created like 3 new realities. But anyway,
yeah,
yeah, I'm definitely intrigued to see what they're gonna do with Falcon being the new Captain America. I want to see like that character growth, of him evolve into being the new Captain America, because what they need to do is have people like accept him, because everyone, there's some people, I don't get it, but they're like, oh, Soldier should have been it. I'm like, there's a reason why Cap didn't give him the shield, because he's got a
yeah.
freaking list of shit that he
He's a
did.
terrorist.
Yeah, he's a
He's a
fucking.
terrorist. He's
Oh, that
to the
wasn't
world. He's a
him.
terrorist.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what we think. It's what the world thinks. It sucks, but that's how it works. He blew up a building. He killed several people. He's an assassin. he's a terrorist, and you don't want that to be Captain
Yeah,
America. That's kind of a bad name onto the Captain America shield. So let's give it to the guy that
yeah,
was with him throughout the entire time because what he did was constantly stick by Cap's side even when it was
yeah.
ugly during
And like
Civil
the
War
thing
and all that.
about like Captain America is, I'll give them that Winter Soldier is the same way as Cap because he's a super soldier. Like he has the super soldier serum. But the thing that makes Captain America isn't the powers, it's who he is as a person. And that's what Falcon is. Falcon's morality is closer to Steve Rogers than Winter Soldier is to Captain America.
Yeah.
And that's the entire thing of, and they've been honestly they have been building for Falcon to take the Captain America mantle since Winter Soldier. Like he has been the one. He was the one that I always thought was going to pick up the shield more than Bucky. And the reason why people are mad is because in the comics, Winter Soldier was the first one to pick it up. But the thing about the MCU is they don't do everything straight out of the comic books.
Yeah,
It's its
exactly.
own separate entity. And I'd much rather have. I'd have been a little upset if they actually would have given it to Winter Soldier. I'm actually really, really happy they gave it to Falcon.
Yeah, like I don't understand why people are still holding on to that argument that it didn't happen in the comics. Little did you know, the comic book storyline and the timeline and that shit does not make sense. Shit
No.
happens and it just happens. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you can't put that in a very, for the most part, very like strict continuity. There's only been
Right.
once or twice that they broke their continuity for obvious reasons. Most of them being actors and stuff like that. So, it's not going to work out like that. And plus, logically, it doesn't make any sense. Whereas in comics, you're allowed to just stretch shit out because that could
You
be
can do
someone's first
anything in
comic.
comics and it will
Yeah,
make sense. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
exactly.
it
There's a
works
whole
out
new
that way.
law. That's why you like. I got into a debate with somebody who claimed they were like a great filmmaker and all this other happy shit. He was like in his 30s or something like that. He told me, "Oh, if you can write a story in a movie, you can write a book, you can write a comic." I'm like, that is complete bullshit. Complete
Yeah.
bullshit because that's why you don't have direct adaptations. People always say the books of Harry Potter are better than the movies. Well, I'll tell you why. Because they had to adapt it. It's hard to adapt a Harry Potter movie like a book to a movie because those books are like 400 500 pages long. And the reason why Harry
Right.
Potter 7 got split into two parts because the book was like 760 pages long.
It's ridiculous how long
Yeah,
that book is.
yeah, exactly. So you can't have direct adaptations, and you'll probably never have direct adaptations. There's always going to be those select few because like it takes a specific story in a book to be directly adapted into a movie. But why would
Right.
you want that? Why would you want
Yeah.
that? Like
The
I
thing
think that
about
would be
the thing
boring.
about the MCU is it takes elements of like famous comic book stories, but it puts its own twist on it.
Yeah.
Like that's why like I love the Civil War movie more than I actually love the Civil War comic. Um,
Oh yeah,
because
100%.
and don't get me wrong, I enjoy the Civil War comic, but if they would have gone for that, it wouldn't have made as much sense in the MCU unless like the way that they did it was perfect because if they had done the straight up adaptation of the comic, it wouldn't have made sense in the context of the entire universe.
Yeah.
But the way they handled it was more intriguing because of this entire backstory that we already had leading into Civil War. And so I completely agree that like not everything is going to like not everything from a book is going to work perfectly in a movie. You have to take adaptations and liberties and things like that to make it work.
Yeah, and people need to get like literally got to get over it. And I'm telling you, these people are like constantly bitching and complaining about it's not like the source material. I
Yeah.
guarantee you, they are the ones that didn't read the comic. They're the ones who watched comics explained. I'll tell
Yeah.
you that for a fact. And I'm not going to like sit here and say, "Oh, I read the source material." The fuck I did? No, I didn't. That's bullshit. I did not. I read
Yeah.
like 4 comics in my life. Like I would like to read more. Yes, of course. But A, comics are expensive, and B, it's ridiculous how difficult
There's
it
so
is.
much backstory you have to read to get into an actual comic story too.
Yeah, that's the
Like
main
you have to
problem
read
with
like
the
you have
comics.
to read like you have to read 8 different story issues that are like 12 comics apiece to even understand what's going on into the actual story itself.
Yeah, that's why the comic industry it was dying to begin with. It was dying before
Yeah.
everything was becoming digital because it's becoming much more difficult for people like me who want to read like just get into it
Right.
because I love to start from beginning to end. Some people are like, just get over it, just start here. You'll kind of put the pieces together. I'm like, I don't want to though. I want to read
Right.
every. I want to experience the story, and you. So that's why I just watch comics explained for the most part. So I'm not dishing out $20 for something that I'm probably not going to get fully, and he'll
Yeah.
just explain everything to me in
And
full
he's
depth.
fantastic at explaining comics anyway.
Oh
He's
yeah,
he's one
yeah.
of like the main YouTubers I watch. He's fantastic
Yeah,
too.
he's great at what he does. He's great at what he does. So
And he's
oh
probably like the most knowledgeable guy about the X-Men.
yeah, 100%. Just excuse me, guys. I just got to do this. I thought all this was muted. I'm like sitting there looking at that. We'll just this one's 20 minutes long. We'll just play from here. Ignore me, guys. Professional, by the way. Uh, so, anyways, wait, where's the full? Okay, we're having some technical difficulties. Hold up, hold up. There we go. There we go. Professional, by the way. So, yeah. What was the last thing you said before we were really interrupted by my stream?
He's like a genius when it comes to the X-Men comics.
Oh yeah. So it's bullshit. The people are sitting there
Yeah.
being that offended because a lot of these people are in their fucking like around our age for the most part, like in their early 20s. I'm like 98% of you haven't picked up a comic in your life. If you have
Right.
picked up a comic, it's because of your great granddad from the fucking 60s had one. So,
Right.
yeah, so lick a dick, shut up, and just experience the fucking movie. Just experience the movie. Anyway, I'm excited to see.
The thing I'm the
Oh,
thing
there you
I'm
go.
the thing I'm like the most excited about though in for Falcon and Winter Soldier is Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie have some of the best chemistry, if not
Oh,
the best chemistry in the
100%.
entire MCU. They are they are the funniest guys to watch do interviews and things like that. Like the two of them and even Tom Holland when he's with them, they're so funny together and their chemistry is amazing. And that's like the thing I'm looking forward to the most. Plus, I know a lot of people, and I think you're a part of this category, who weren't a fan of Baron Zemo. I think he's like one of the most underrated villains in the MCU. So I'm glad he's back. Plus, I'm glad he's getting the purple mask too,
I
because it's just
saw
going to
that.
add
I heard
everything
about
together.
that. I heard about that. I'm so excited, and I don't hate Baron Zemo. I just feel like everything was too convenient for him. But I'm definitely excited to see more of him.
Right.
I love the idea of Baron Zemo in the MCU. The fact that it's a direct consequence of not just Tony, because Tony gets starts everything
He gets
basically.
blamed. He gets blamed for a lot of stuff that
Yeah.
he was a part of, but he didn't necessarily start. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and Baron Zemo said, like, no, it's not just Tony. He's like, it's the Avengers. I'm
It's
fucking
the entire
mad.
Avengers.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
fuck all of you. I'm mad. I'm gonna make sure you guys kill each other. And I like the
Yeah.
idea, and just I love the whole philosophy. Like, how do you destroy an empire from within? I love that
Yeah.
philosophy, and I can't wait
And
to
I
see what he
like.
does.
I love the fact that he's just a man. Like he's not like a superpowered individual, but he's just a man who is upset and will do anything to get revenge on these individuals that he feels is responsible for killing his family.
Yes.
And so
yes.
he knows he's not strong enough to take them on, fight them one on one. So what does he do? He makes them turn on each other, and it's smart. It makes him actually look like a genius more than some of these like mustache twirling villains that are just out
Ooh,
there
darling.
for power. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't like I want to see what he's gonna do because I don't think him tearing these two apart will work as well. The only thing I
No.
could see happening with making these two fight each other is make Winter Soldier jealous that he didn't get the shield. But the thing is, in Endgame, he accepted
He
that.
kind of looked like he already knew that Steve was going to give it to
Yeah,
Sam.
exactly. That's the only way I realistically see him wanting to fight Falcon.
Yeah.
But other than that, these two just don't argue. They bicker, but it's friendly banter.
It's
So,
funny.
yeah, exactly. So I want to see what they do, what he's gonna do to get these guys, like this, like to kind of get them off their ass, or how he's gonna kill them, how he's gonna try to stop them. That I'm most intrigued about is see like Baron Zemo's attack plan. I'm fascinated
Yeah.
to see what's gonna happen with that.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. What's next on the list?
The next one is probably the movie, probably the second most anticipated movie on my like on this list for me, and that is the Eternals movie.
I I am so excited to see this because it's funny. I had a couple of my buddies come up to me. He's like, "What the fuck are the Eternals?" And I looked dead ass at them. I locked eyes with them like we were about to kiss, and I just got a little closer and I said, I didn't know who the Guardians were, dumbass. How do you think I'm gonna know what the fucking Eternals are? Like, and they're like, but you know all this shit. I'm like, I know the foundation. I know the basics. He's like, but didn't you
I've
know Iron
heard
Man
of
before
them.
Iron
I
Man?
don't know who they are.
Yeah, like I know I knew of their existence. I didn't know who Guardians were
Right.
before Guardians of the Galaxy. But I heard of the Eternals once, maybe twice beforehand, and I
Yeah.
just kind of went through one ear out the other. I'm like, the Eternals, okay, that sounds kind of cool, whatever.
Yeah.
But this is fascinating. I love their tactic. Like if enough people are familiar with a said character, they hire someone that, for the most part, that's not super well known, but it's like
Right.
not an A-list talent, but when you get something like Guardians of the Galaxy, you get something like Eternals, you get this A-list talent like that everyone knows. It's so smart, it's so intelligent. It's like 3,000 IQ galaxy brain moments. I'm so excited to see this movie. This movie is going to be fucking weird, and I'm so excited. I'm
Yeah.
loving the fact that they're taking more and more risk with this thing, and I can't wait to see what happens. And I just killed a guy on my own team, Pog. Okay, what are your
um,
thoughts on the Eternals?
no, I love the fact the thing I'm looking forward to this because like we talked about with like Black Widow and things like that. We're looking forward to like the action and everything. I'm looking forward to because we've already seen some of the concept art and it looks absolutely fantastic. Like it looks beautifully shot, it looks beautifully done. It's this big epic movie that like you can create that you can do with a team. We're getting Celestials even more, which is what I want. It's going to be awesome.
Yes.
It's going to get weird. They're going straight Jack Kirby with it, which is everything
Oh,
that it
ha,
needs to
ha,
be.
ha,
Like
yes.
it's everything about this movie screams blockbuster.
One
And like
hundred percent.
a lot of people like are kind of like weirded out by it. But the Guardians, like you mentioned, were the same way of like, who would have thought that the Guardians would be one of the most popular entities in the entire MCU? And to some people, like the first Guardians movie is to a lot of people, the first Guardians movie is one of the best, if not the best MCU movies still.
Yes,
And
yes.
so like it's absolutely fantastic. I know a lot of people aren't fans of Guardians 2. I absolutely love it. I'd say my top 10 MCU movies. So I think like the Eternals could be a part of that same factor. I love that we're going cosmic. The more cosmic we go, the more I'm going to be intrigued because it's going to be just absolutely fantastic because literally nothing is impossible for the MCU anymore and that's so exciting.
Yeah, they opened Pandora's box when they did
Yeah.
Infinity War, when they did Guardians. They opened up a box, and now the entire comic history of Marvel is at their disposal. It's
Which
at
is where what it
yeah,
should be.
yeah. They're like back in 2013 when they announced Guardians. Everyone, including myself, was like, "Is this going to be their first bomb? Like, what's going to happen?" I'm not sitting there thinking it's going to like lose a lot of money, but I'm sitting there thinking like, "Is this going to be like a $300 million movie? Is this going to be like their like the Incredible Hulk where no one goes up to see because it's so effing weird?"
Yeah.
And now it just became so successful. Then they did Infinity War with magical stones that literally could destroy the universe at a snap of a finger. They're like,
Yeah.
shit, we can do whatever the fuck we want, and people will watch it. We made a movie called Ant-Man, for fuck's sake. Let's just do whatever we want, and it just pays off every single time. What helps is that they're making quality movies.
Yeah.
You don't have to like all of them, but the thing is, they're telling decent stories with heroes and their issues. These are grounded characters for the most part. Now, when we get to the Eternals and like Captain Marvel, they're not so grounded, not anymore. Like with their personality and shit like that, but there's still some form of connection we can get to these characters, and their arcs are so relatable to the point where like no matter what the story, whatever the situation is, we're going for the heroes and their adventure, and that's why they're so successful. and I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with this story with Angelina Jolie and this massive, massive cast. I'm so excited.
And like the crazy thing is though, we still don't know who the main like character, like the main antagonist. We don't know who the main character is, and we don't know who the main villain is yet.
Yeah, I'm
Like
if I
there's
had to
still two
assume,
massive casting choices, which makes me think because they're going to probably announce them at D23.
oh,
There were
100%.
some rumors. There were some rumors that Keanu Reeves could show up in the Eternals movie.
I hope so. I want him to
If
be
they're
like
holding
God.
this off that long, it has to like let him be the greatest thing in the MCU. I'm all
I
for him being
imagine.
the greatest thing in the MCU.
What if he was like a main villain that kind of arches into like not an Avengers movie, because if they don't do another Avengers movie, I'm not gonna cry. But like when they do another big team up movie like an Avengers, I want like
Yeah,
If Keanu Reeves was the villain in Eternals, I want him to survive and kind of cross over into that aspect, because you can
I would love it.
yeah, if he's a hero, even better, because we get to root for him. It's just like
Yeah, like
oh,
whatever he plays in is going to be fantastic. And like that's what's really cool about this is like the MCU has never really like had a for a while it hasn't had like an A-list star. Because like if you remember the first like Iron Man movie, Robert Downey Jr. wasn't necessarily like an A-lister.
yeah, especially because he had
Um,
his downfall.
exactly. Chris Evans wasn't necessarily a main A-lister. Chris Hemsworth wasn't really an A-lister. Mark Ruffalo wasn't an A-lister. Scarlett Johansson wasn't really an A-lister. Jeremy Renner wasn't. Like all of these all these like actors weren't really like A-listers, but they became A-listers kind of because of the MCU. But
Yeah.
now we've got Angelina freaking Jolie being cast in the MCU, who's like an A-lister, a talent, and like everyone's like knows who she is and loves her. So it's a massive get for Marvel.
Yeah, 100%. I can't wait to see what they do. Okay, what's next on the list?
Next is Shang-Chi, the Legend of the Ten Rings. The
I'm
Mandarin
s-
is back.
yes, I'm sad that Iron Man couldn't fight him. I would love to have seen that, but this is just as cool. So tell me a little bit about Shang-Chi. How much do you know about him, first of all?
I know absolutely nothing about Shang-Chi.
I remember
I'm
looking something up about him. I'm not sure if he even has powers. I think he's just straight up kung fu.
but like because when we talked about this, me and Jason talked about it like a while ago, and we like looked up like some of his villains, and we were like, we've never heard any of these, and so both of us at the same time were like, what if like the Mandarin, because they like Kevin Feige said he wants to use the Mandarin again. What if the Mandarin's like the main villain in Shang-Chi? Because it would kind of make sense. And then when this came out, I was like, this is the perfect way to get interest into who Shang-Chi is.
Yeah, exactly. Just hype up the fact that the Mandarin is back, the real Mandarin, and I want to see what the hell the Mandarin's been doing for so long. I want to see what happened to the fake Mandarin from Iron Man 3. I can't I can't say this enough. I can't wait to see what they do, because this is the first
Yeah.
time in a long time we don't know what the plan is for the MCU, because they're
And
sending
this
a
is the
lot of
first
mixed
time in a long
messages.
time these movies and these like TV shows aren't going into a specific direction,
Exactly. I think what
which
they're
is
doing,
fantastic.
based off what I'm seeing right here, it's theory time, chat. Here we go. My theory is they're preparing to split the MCU into three different sections, and we're gonna get a lot more team ups and stuff like that. Like what we're getting. Spoiler alert for the next couple minutes. Doctor Strange. Like what they're doing with Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch. Like I want to see a
Yeah.
lot more of that, and I think that will be possible. I can't wait. I'm gonna hold off what I have to say with Doctor Strange until when that comes out. But because we got magic, we got celestials, we got deep space, we got another spoil, supernatural. They're splitting this shit up in so many different directions. I can't wait to see what they're gonna do. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on Shang-Chi and Mandarin finally returning? What are your theories about what I just said?
So the whole thing about because I think me and Jason have talked about this before. We weren't necessarily like up in arms about the Mandarin twist in Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
We didn't hate it because it was kind of a smart thing to do. Of like everybody thought it was going to be this one thing. It was kind of a twist and bait. That's fine. That's whatever. Because the way they did it, you could kind of bring back the real Mandarin if you wanted to, which is what they're doing. So we were fine with it. But I'm super excited to see the Mandarin show back up. This is probably the movie I'm looking forward to action-wise. Like I think the action scenes in this movie are going to be absolutely fantastic. I think they're going to be really interesting to watch. I think it's going to be awesome to watch because they have the cinematographer from Spider-Man 2 and The Matrix, which is
Ooh, nice.
amazing.
Yeah.
So that's a good pair up, especially for this style of movie and this kind of movie. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I love the fact that like we're going into so many directions. I really think they're going to set up because I think they kind of set up in at the end of Spider-Man: Far From Home. Spoilers alert, I guess, if you haven't seen it, but it's been out for a hot minute. I think they're starting to kind of set up maybe Sword. So like the space team,
100%.
and then like we'll have like the Avengers, whatever form of the Avengers on Earth, have those two different entities like fighting the thing, and then one massive thing will bring them together. I think that's kind of the direction that they're heading into, which I'm very, very excited for.
Yeah, the fact that I'm not gonna repeat what you said just in case now the person like the one person who's gonna be watching this that didn't see Spider-Man. The fact what you brought up with that, I am so excited, and that kind of reaffirms my theory about the universe being split into different parts because not everything has to
Yep.
be compacted into one. Because at points you felt that compaction in the earlier phases, like in phase three specifically, like how everything just felt so crammed tight. Now that you have set up this massive universe spread out a little bit, I mean, you're not gonna have certain characters interact, but you're gonna have like other like 20 other characters that you created the past 10 years, and be like, okay,
Right.
yeah, you can put this character over there. So you're still seeing crossovers happening, and it's gonna be nice. I'm not saying that like let's say a Spider-Man, he's never gonna talk to the Eternals. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is like you don't have to do that for every single phase. Like at the
Right.
end of like every single Avengers movie, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that.
They'll
But
all be together at some point
yeah, I think
because
like
they're gonna build up to another massive event movie because they realize and they saw how well these massive event movies work when they're done right. So they're gonna
yeah.
build up to that, but it's going to be a very, very long time before we see
Yes,
that.
Doctor Doom with the power of God. I want to see that. That would be
I want to see
fucking.
that.
Yeah, just imagine this entire time, very subtly, like not we're to the point where we can't even pick it up. Doctor Doom is in the background, picking up the pieces, like getting like a sling ring from the freaking dojo or whatever the fuck it is from Doctor Strange. Like he's doing these
Yep.
small things, so small where we're not picking it up, and then by like his appearance in Fantastic Four, he's like, haha, I have these things, and then he supposedly defeat it. He's like, oh shit, oh curse you guys, and then he disappears for a little bit, but still appearing in the background. But that
Yeah.
loss was part of his plan. He's like, so
Yeah.
because like eventually they're gonna
And
catch on to me. Like there's so much you could
that's why
do
I
with
love the
that.
fact that's why I hope they go like have the space, like have the sword, have like space, basically the Space Avengers fight the cosmic entities that like they that might show up,
Yeah,
and like fight those things, and then like on Earth have like the Avengers and Spider-Man and Black Panther and them have to deal with like Norman Osborn and like the Dark Avengers and like the Dark Reign and things like that, and then all of a
Supernatural.
sudden. And then all of a sudden, like Doctor Doom steps up, picks up the pieces, and boom, we're into Secret Wars, and that would be fantastic.
there's so much they can do. This is why this is an exciting time to be a fan. The end has come. We just saw the finale to a 10-year, well, in this case, 11-year reign.
Yeah.
Now we don't know what's going to
And
happen next, and there's
there's
so
no
much to happen.
and it looks like they're not slowing down at all. Like there's
Yeah.
no slowdown at all for Marvel, and that's absolutely awesome. That there's like
Yeah.
no break, nothing.
Yeah, I exciting stuff to come ahead.
Yeah.
So tell me, is the Mandarin, is his rings from space or are they magical based? Because I thought they were magical based, and I think I heard Nico say they were space based. Or is it one of those things where it depends on the comic?
I think it depends on the comic. I don't remember because I think there are a couple adaptations. I think if the MCU does it, it might be magic based.
Which I would prefer honestly, because I don't want to see alien. Like I want to see something more magical. I want to delve into that world a lot more, where magic is becoming more
Especially
and more
since we already
frequent.
have like Doctor Strange and things like that. Like
And
I think
yeah.
I think you could go magical with it. So I'm not 1,000. I don't. The Mandarin is one of those characters. Like I know who he is, and I know about him, and I know about the Ten Rings, but I don't know a whole lot about them
Yeah,
either.
you don't know the specifics, but you know the general idea.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
can't wait to see this movie. What's next on the list in the timeline?
Next is spring 2021. Probably the worst named Disney Plus show so far, but I'm so excited for it. WandaVision.
I don't think it's the well. It's definitely the worst Disney Plus name. Definitely.
Yeah,
WandaVision could have been a little bit better. So this one is after Endgame.
which means Vision's coming back in some way somehow.
I sure, why not? Whatever. It's he's back. That whole emotional death scene. I mean, it's still there, but whatever. Because that scene. Don't get me wrong. That scene where Vision dies in the Infinity War was so powerful. I felt the loss and the dread and everything about Wanda. If they don't do this right, bring his return back, it's gonna lose something. That scene's gonna lose something. But if they do it right, where she dabbles in the dark arts and stuff like that, and she brings him back, and there's like a consequence to it, I think that would
Yeah,
be swell. Because isn't the main? I'm pretty sure the main villain's a witch. So imagine that witch was the thing that brought Vision back. How tragic would it be if she ends up having like she brings him back with the witch, but the witch did something. So if she dies, Vision dies. Like
yeah.
that would be fun. So not only did she see him die once, not
She'd seen that
twice.
twice. Yeah,
No, three times. Cause
yeah.
yeah, because Infinity War he died twice in front of her. So Pog, dude, that would be so
Yeah,
fucked. Oh my god, that's so messed
yeah.
up. Like, oh, dude, that would be so tragic. I don't want that to happen. Just because, like, for the character's sake, she would probably jump off a goddamn bridge and just like end me.
Right,
Yeah, she's like
right.
crippling depression. It would be the first clinically depressed superhero. Yay! Like, I mean, at that point, could you really blame her? Saw
No,
the love
not
of
at
her
all.
life die three times in the
Three
span of
times, yeah.
yeah, in the span of a year. So,
The one thing though the one thing I am very excited about this though is that they name drop that Monica Rambeau is going to be in this show as well, which is very interesting that she shows up here, um, rather than anywhere else. It's very interesting that those two are put together, which is kind of a weird pairing, but it's still very interesting to hear that those two are together.
yeah. I want to see the scope of the story. I don't want to see this one big. They're not going to be super big either, and I know that for a fact because I mean they're TV shows prolonged, but they're still going to have they're still going to have the look of a movie, so that's expensive. Really,
Yeah,
really expensive. I'm not sure how long these episodes are going to be, like how many episodes are going to be, but I'm pretty sure they're like an hour each. If they do 4 episodes, automatically it's longer than Endgame. Automatically, that's
yeah,
insanity. So if I could tell for a fact that they're gonna have to have the budget down to a small amount, like just to the
right.
scope and stuff like that. But I want to see what they're gonna do with her and Vision. I would like to see them like finally living in a suburban area and just trying to be
Yeah,
accustomed to life and stuff like that. At least for the first episode or two. Um, so yeah, what
and
do
I
you
think
think? What do you
like
think the script's going to be like?
what I love about these Disney Plus shows, though, is like kind of like you were saying, if they're going to be like 10 episodes long, they're each going to be an hour long. That means that all of these characters, apart from like the What If series, because that's kind of like its own separate thing, but like all of these characters are going to be super grounded, like
Yeah,
super grounded, and that's awesome, because it's going to make them feel more realistic and it's going to make them feel more relatable, and that's very very important, especially for a character kind of like Scarlet Witch who isn't necessarily like relatable at times. Like you felt her pain in Infinity War when it came to Vision, but that was about it. Like that was the only time that you
yeah,
really felt a connection with her. And so like with this, I think you're gonna feel like a much stronger connection. It's really gonna establish who she is as a character because I think she's gonna be one of the like major parts going forward into the phases because she's so freaking powerful.
yeah.
And it's really going to be awesome to see how she works along, especially the other movie she's going to be appearing in, because that's awesome that she's going to be in the Doctor Strange movie as well. So it's really going to do a lot of great things for her character.
Yeah, 100%. I'm definitely intrigued to see what they're going to do with her. I think that's the one important aspect to take away from this is the fact that we're going to be able to see things that we wouldn't be able to see in movies. See things
Right.
slow down a little bit, being able to like develop the characters a little bit more. Even though these,
We're going to get to
for the
know
most
these
part,
characters more than
we could in a
we were
movie.
able to in any movie. Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
like no matter
that's
how
why
many
I think
movies they
like
are in, yeah, like we
that's
know
why I
Iron
think
Man.
it's right. Right. That's why I think it's so smart that like the Falcon is getting his own show because now we get to see him grounded and we get to know more about him as Captain America. So when these movies come out, we already know who he is and he's established, and we don't have
Yeah.
to worry about taking up time in the movies to establish him as Captain America.
Yeah, exactly. And just we're gonna be able like we know Iron Man, but we don't know
Right.
him to an extent. Like we don't know what he likes to
Right.
watch and all this other happy shit. Like we're
Right.
like if you take like these shows slow enough and pace them well enough, we're gonna be able to know things. We're gonna probably know these characters more than Iron Man if done right.
If done right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
definitely. Definitely.
If you pace the timing right, which is fascinating to me, and that's why I'm happy that we're getting these secondary characters getting their own shows because we wouldn't. You're not establishing time with them.
And the
Yeah.
thing is like they're not secondary characters anymore. Like these
Mhm.
are the faces of these franchises now, and you
Mhm.
have to build them up, and you have to throw them out there and put their faces out there.
So that makes me think when the feud be doing this more like let's because we're gonna get more secondary heroes in the future when like these
Right.
characters are starting to like slowly wither down and stuff like that. We're eventually gonna get secondary heroes. I wonder if they're gonna actually do the same thing with that. Is
I
like
think if it works this time, I think
yeah,
we're gonna see that be done more and more and more. Definitely.
yeah, 100%, which gets me really excited for seeing so much new content.
Right.
It's such an exciting time to be a fan. What's
It
next on
is.
the
It really
list?
is. Next is probably the movie I'm looking forward to the most, and that is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
The title of this, I like it, and I kind of don't, but I'm leaning towards the more of liking it. If it's as quote unquote horror as they're trying to make it out to be, then the title's trash. Because you're making it out to be like such a goofy comic book movie, like the multiverse of madness. Like you can't take that ultra seriously if you know what I mean. Just like if it was just like horror elements, I'll be like, okay, yeah, it's a good title. But if you want to go straight horror and like super duper crazy, the title needs some work. But at the end of the day, it's just the title. What I'm most excited about is the banter and the teamwork between Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch, because these are
Yep.
probably two of the most powerful MCU characters outside
Right.
of Captain Marvel, who just punches things really hard. These two are going to be an unstoppable force, and I would love to see them go to hell. I want to see them open up new
Yes.
possibilities. I want to see what they can do. Some people are not a massive fan of the idea of the multiverse. I like the idea of the multiverse. What I don't want to see happen though is them use the multiverse as a get out of jail free card. Like
Yeah.
what into the Spider Verse, the multiverse idea was dealt with care, love, and attention, and wasn't dealt with cheesiness or anything like that. Where it's like, hey, if we go to this universe, everything will be fine because it's perfect. Only one
Right.
small detail. I don't want to see any of that. But what I would like to see is just them use that to open up new story ideas and not just be like, hey, we fucked up a while back. Let's fix that with the multiverse. Ooh.
Right,
But I'm
right. No,
like,
the thing I'm most excited for about the multiverse itself, though, is you wouldn't be able to do Secret Wars because they've been wanting to do Secret Wars for a while. You wouldn't be able to do it without the multiverse, and
yeah.
so this is starting to set seeds and plant seeds for this massive event. Plus, just the fact that I'm a huge fan of having the multiverse in the MCU, and I'm really, really happy that they're doing it with Doctor Strange and not Spider-Man. Because if anybody's going to do multiverse travel, it needs to be Doctor Strange.
Yes, yes.
And I am so excited for this. I'm so excited for this movie. I'm excited because the first Doctor Strange movie, it's good. It's not like the greatest thing in the world. It's good, but it's got very forgettable moments.
Yeah.
And some of those forgettable moments was them establishing that hey, there is a multiverse already. Like we already have established that there's a multiverse. People just kind of forget that. And so now that we are getting deeper into it, and he's traveling through the multiverse, and there are going to be these horror elements to it, and it's just going to be encompassing everything that is strange about Doctor Strange, and it's everything that it needs to be.
Yeah. Uh, there's so much possibilities to the idea of the multiverse. Like I said, with care, it there's a lot you can do, and I think it gets set up some cool moments in a movie. Just like I said, when they if they go to hell, Nightmare being the main villain, possibly. There's so much you can do, and you got like I said, probably the most powerful MCU characters alongside, so you can go really crazy with the villain, and you can
Right.
have them just fight hordes of enemies, and they will be able to hold their own. And I want to see like what kind of if they do go for like quote unquote horror as they state it. I want to see what they mean by that. Like in like the said
Yeah.
multiverse, like what are they gonna see? Is it gonna mess with their minds? Like there's a lot they can do, and I'm so excited. I sound like a broken record, but whatever.
Yeah,
uh,
no, all of these movies and shows in Phase 4, and the fact that it's coming out in a span of 2 years, Phase 4 is just done in 2 years, is really interesting and so exciting.
yeah. What's next on the list?
After that is the Loki Disney Plus show.
This one, I was a little disappointed to hear what the storyline was. It's still intriguing to me, but I was hoping to see Thor and Loki growing up, and to see Loki grow up from his perspective, and not just from Thor, him being an angry child. Like it could have added a little bit more complexity to the character, even though he's still one of the more complicated ones. I would have loved to have seen that with Tom Hiddleston narrating, because I remember hearing that Tom Hiddleston's not going to be in the show, but he's going to be the one narrating. So I'm like, ooh, younger years or something like that. No, it's
Right.
just it's him in an alternate reality after he took the time stone or space stone, space
Yeah,
stone,
Space
yeah,
Stone.
space stone went from Endgame. I'm like, that's cool and all, but I would have preferred to see him growing up and stuff like that. Maybe we'll still get something like that in the show because like there's
Right.
hours and hours and hours of one character. But yeah, still exciting though because we get to see more Tom Hiddleston, which you can't go
Yeah.
wrong with.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the show?
No, Loki's one of my favorite characters, so I'm very, very excited about this. I actually like the fact that we're getting a different look at like alternate realities, because it kind of sets up like the consequences of everything that happened in Endgame. So like
Yeah,
it's not just like this one-off movie and then like okay, the universe is completely reset. Yeah, Iron Man's gone, Black Widow's gone, Captain America's gone, but hey, everything's still fine. There's no consequences for our actions, things like that. No, there are consequences now because Loki disappeared, and now it's a completely different timeline, a completely different alternate reality. So it's setting up a different consequence for their actions. So I'm very, very excited about that. Plus, like you said, the more Tom Hiddleston we get, the better everybody is. So like
yeah,
I'm fine with him just living on forever as Loki.
yeah, and that is one thing I am intrigued to see though is the fact that people act like Endgame was cleaned up with a tiny bow, and if it was treated like that, I'll be pretty annoyed because there was obviously some consequences they messed up on.
Right.
Like, like the ancient one said, bring these back because you will open up alternate realities, and we don't want that. And they're like, okay, we
Right.
won't, okay, and they fucking killed Thanos in 2014, so that opened up a fucking reality and Loki escaped, so that opens up another reality. So there's a lot you can do. I want to see what like that world. So in this universe where Loki escapes, is that going to be the same reality where Thanos is dead? So that would be interesting to see. Because like,
No, because that's a 2000. It happened in 2012.
yeah, oh yeah,
He
that's right.
disappeared and started a new one, so it'd be a different. So like the Avengers are still around, Thanos is still alive. He's still looking for the stones, things like that.
Yeah, like it's just interesting to see what they're gonna do with that.
Yeah.
I want to see them just explore. There's a lot to explore, and yeah, like that. Like it sounds like a broken record, but it's the truth. They have so much to explore now with like the
Yeah.
consequences of Endgame. It's like starting fresh. It's like phase one, but they had 11 years of lore to go off of,
Right.
and it's a new
Right.
set of playgrounds. So it's like phase 1 through 4 or one through 3 are still going to be with us in some sense. Where like maybe the consequences of Endgame are going to be of massive effect and from phases 4 through 6. I think that would be pretty
Right.
cool to see. So like make it look like everything is not clean with a bow and all that stuff until like the entire universe explodes or until there's no
Right.
superheroes left.
Right. Right.
Anything else you need to say about this?
No, I just all of these Disney Plus shows I think are going to be done really, really well, and I'm looking forward really to all of them.
Okay, what's next on the list?
Next one though is probably the one I'm looking forward to the most, and that is the What If series.
Oh yes, that's a show that should be able to go on forever.
Forever.
Yeah, there like when I was streaming a while ago when the What If series was first announced, um people in the comments just kept on saying what if this. I'm like, yeah, that's an
Yeah.
episode right there. What if this? I'm like, that's not like my chat alone who are not like super comic book nerds wrote it like came up with an entire season alone.
Right.
Like now
Yeah.
imagine you are the ones creating the universe. There's
Exactly.
infinite possibilities. Infinite.
Yep.
Like what if um Thunderbolt. This is my idea. What if Thunderbolt Ross actually was able to weaponize Hulk? There would be nothing
Yeah.
left. It's like
Yeah.
that's a world
Exactly.
I want to see. And thank God it's animated because they're like, yeah, we can't do this with live action because that would kill our fucking wallets. We're Disney. We're literally have an infinite supply of money, but still.
Yeah.
It's just I'm okay with it. That means they can go more and more absurd. Like, what if Tony
Yeah.
died in the cave? The
Yeah.
universe itself would be different.
And I think the first episode is what if
Is
Sharon Carter, or what if Peggy Carter took the super soldier serum instead of Steve Rogers?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's definitely a good one to start off on. Like start in the
Yeah.
very technically in the very beginning of the MCU timeline, which
Yeah.
is definitely a good place to start. I definitely want to see, like I said, I feel like we kind of have to see the two I mentioned. What if Iron Man died in the cave, and what if Thunderbolt Ross
Yeah.
weaponized Hulk? I think these are like must-haves
Yeah, and I
because
think what if Loki received the power of Thor? Like what if like there's just an infinite amount of what if Hydra actually like defeated Shield? You know, like there's a lot of stuff that you could actually do in
yeah, I
this
feel
series and
we
make it
got we
work.
got something like that in Agents of Shield. What if
Yeah.
yeah, what if Hydra won because it was one of those mindfuck seasons. Holy shit, season 4. I never
Yeah.
felt. I took me a week. I'm not even exaggerating. A week to feel normal again.
Yeah.
It
That
was
show messed with me too.
yeah. Like if you guys haven't seen Agents of Shield, this is not a massive spoiler. So just relax. I'm just gonna explain why you need to watch at least season 4 because Ghost Rider's in it. Badass, by the way. The other
Yep.
reason is because it involves AI and like they were put for like a huge chunk of the show, not a huge chunk of that season. I would say like probably like a good like 5 6 episodes. The majority of the cast was stuck in the alternate reality machine, like, and they thought that was real, so they were stuck with two completely different memories. And I'm like, what is real? And then
Yeah.
they joked about it, where Cisco, not Cisco, I'm thinking fucking Flash. What's his face? The dweeb.
Um. Oh crap! You asked me too quick. What's his name? Um. Fitz.
Fitz, thank you. Yeah,
Fitz.
where Fitz jokingly, he like not even jokingly, he was like, "Is this still like the?" Is this still the fake reality? Everyone's like, ah, my head hurts. Shut up. I'm like, thank you. But it still fucked me up for a while. Like, what was I going with this? I had a point. Wait. I had a point to this. Anyway, that's right, because of the alternate realities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like they kind of did that with Hydra, like, because in that alternate universe, Hydra won, and Coulson was a teacher at a school teaching how
Yeah.
Shield was terrorists and stuff like that. And there was only 2 people like that were like aware of that shit was fake. And they're sitting there like, "Yo, this is fake news. Stop." And yeah, so like it's something like that. I would love to dive more into that. Like, what if Coulson didn't die?
Yeah,
Like, yeah, like what if? Because like if he didn't do the sacrifice play, the Avengers probably wouldn't have even gotten together. They would probably still be at
yeah,
each other's throats, and then Loki probably would have won. Like, see right here, I went from one what if because of what Andy said, and I went to a completely different what if. That could have been
yeah.
its own
There's like
episode.
there's so many options with the show that and the more that the MCU expands, the more options that they have,
So I feel like this
which
is a
means that the
show that
show's
can
going to
be
go
like,
on for a long time.
yeah, like this is one of those shows that could be like, bear with me, it could be like SpongeBob, where like no matter what happens, they could be fucking running the What If series. Except
Yeah,
SpongeBob should have been gone years ago.
a long time
Whereas
ago.
yeah,
Long time ago.
long time ago. That's like a completely different story. But where What If series, there's always a possibility. It just takes a couple beers after like you're on your 50th season of the show, and each season's got 23 fucking episodes. You're on season 50. You take a couple of beers, and then your drunken self says, "What is it?" And then you're like, "We never had that episode before. Get it right and go, 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 go." That's all it
Exactly.
takes. That's all it takes is a couple beers. You gotta get a whiskey shot real quick, and that's all.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I hope we get great shit in the first season. Any final thoughts
Yep.
on this What If series?
No, I'm really looking forward to this one. I think the most, and like the fact that it's animated and it's being narrated by what's his name? He's from Westworld.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Let me look it up real quick. It's gonna
Yeah,
bug me.
yeah.
Um, Jeffrey Wright. He's gonna be the Watcher. So he's gonna
Okay,
be
yeah, that's
narrating the
right.
entire thing. That's the perfect way to do that. Like that is the perfect way to set that up.
For you guys who are listening to this right now, probably not gonna get this, but I played this wonderful little game, this little indie game called Marvel's Ultimate Alliance, back in like early 2000s. Um, the Watcher was in that game. I want him to look just like that. I want him to sound just like that. It's like what?
Oh, he probably will.
We saw the Watchers in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but we didn't
Yeah.
hear them. We didn't hear them talk because Stanley was talking to
Yeah.
them. And he's like, then I
Yeah.
was a mailman, and I was
Yeah.
like, because he was working with the Watchers, which I thought was really nice that they put a little continuity on that. But yeah, I want
Yeah.
them to talk just like he did in the game. He's like, "What if you did this? What if you did?" Because when you beat the game, he says, "What if you did this? Like you didn't do this, so these are your consequences." Like there was an option to either save Jean Grey or save Nightcrawler, and if you save Jean Grey, you just call us the Dark Phoenix, you fucking moron. And if you save Nightcrawler, everything is in harmony, blah 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 blah. So there's all these good options, and the Watcher always
Yeah.
tells you about your consequences. So I want to see something like that. I think that would be really really cool. I just hope he's not narrating too much. Like just let the content write itself, if you will.
Right.
It's
Right.
like him starting the beginning, and then him end off. Like the
Yeah.
episode's like, so glad things worked out the way they did, I guess. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, what's next on the timeline?
Next is the last Disney Plus show, which is coming out in the fall of 2021, and it is Hawkeye.
I The thing is, it's not even going to be a Hawkeye movie. I know that for a fact. Not a movie show. It's going to be based off him
Yeah.
training his daughter,
Training Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop. Okay, it's going to be yeah. So
Yep.
it's not going to be really his show, which sucks. A lot of people give Hawkeye shit. They're like, "Oh, he should have
I
been the
love
one
Hawkeye.
dying." Yeah, I love Hawkeye. Everyone's like, "He should have died." I'm like, "Hey, motherfuckers, he had a family. Oh, we don't like him."
Yeah.
Yeah. So fuck you guys. Oh, yeah, but we didn't like him. We preferred Black Widow. Black Widow's arc was done. Okay. Fuck off. Shut up. She didn't have a family. She couldn't have a family. They stated that. And plus, it would have been the fact that you didn't like her dying is the point they were like trying to make. They're like, your favorite
Right.
characters, oh, they could be dead. Like, I'm glad it was her and not him. I'm not saying I like him more than I like her. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is, this is like if there's more weight to the fact that she died because we've seen her more, and the fact
Hawkeye is the
Hawkeye,
easy target too.
yeah, he's an easy target. Leave the guy alone. Since the first Avengers movie, he's been fucking picked on. Leave him alone. Leave him alone.
And like the thing is, he was the best Avenger in Age of Ultron. Like Age of
Yeah.
Ultron, he was the best Avenger in that movie.
Yeah,
So like he's
100%.
he's a fantastic character, and I'm super excited to see him train. Like I'm super excited one we're getting Kate Bishop because she's the first young Avenger that is being established in the MCU. But then that like he's also like he's still going to be around. He's not just kind of like one and done. He's going to be there for a little bit too, training her, which is really really cool. And he could always just like show back up, pop back up at any point in time as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think his contract may be up, it may not be. Who knows? But the fact is, like, it's always cool to just see him around. He doesn't have to be a major
Yeah.
player or anything like that. But he could be like, back in my day, we had this and that. So like it's always cool to have like some of the OG Avengers still around, just in the movies. I think that'll be really cool. Like imagine Spider-Man actually interacting with Hawkeye, because we didn't really get any of that, if I'm not mistaken.
Uh-uh.
Yeah, so I think that would be
No.
pretty cool. Just seeing interactions with some of the OG Avengers with the newer players, that would be really dope. Because some of the newer players are gonna be fucking arrogant as shit, and then you can have some like Hawkeye with his cane. He's like, just listen, you arrogant little shit, and fucking beat him with his bow. I like. I want to see that. I want to see
Yeah.
that, and I want Spider-Man. We'll talk more about Spider-Man later, but I'm just saying, like, I want Spider-Man to never die. If he fucking stays
Yeah.
dead, there's gonna be hands thrown. If he dies, Miles Morales better be around the fucking corner. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
Spider-Gwen or somebody,
Somebody. Literally, Spider-Man should never die. Just saying.
Nope.
Because
He should
he's
never
like
die.
he's been the face of Marvel, not the MCU, but of Marvel since Ultimate Alliance came out. Because guess who's in the front cover of the very front of the Marvel's Ultimate Alliance? Guess what? It's not Iron Man, chat. It's not any of them, because guess what? Iron Man wasn't cool until 2008. What? I know, but Spider-Man was the face for the longest time. So
Yeah.
yeah. What's next, actually?
And then this is the last movie that they're doing for Phase 4, and that is Thor: Love and Thunder, which I'm all for.
The title I'm definitely not a fan of. I'm glad Taika Waititi's in. That's a freaking
Yeah.
plus and a half if I've ever heard one. Love and Thunder. The reason why I'm not a fan of titles is because guess who's back? The
I love.
love interest.
Okay, so I love it. I love that Jane Foster, because me and Jason were talking about this on our podcast. Jane Foster is one of those characters. She was kind of like Pepper Potts of like, if she never showed back up, fine, whatever. That's not that big of a deal. If she's there, whatever. The second that Taika Waititi announced that she will be Mighty Thor, I was like, yep, nope, I'm all on board. Like I'm totally fine with it, because when Pepper was kind of boring, but then when she dropped down the rescue suit and started fighting, I was like, nope, Pepper's awesome. Like Pepper is actually really really cool. So like I think Natalie Portman and Jane Foster, like I think it's going to work, and Taika Waititi is going to handle it very very well. And so I'm totally fine with Jane Foster being back as and taking up the mantle as Thor as well.
See, the problem is I saw the still images of her at San Diego Comic-Con. She looked like she could give more care about a rat shitting on her fucking shoe than being in the MCU movie. She looked so disinterested. So disinterested. And I'm like, fucking leave her then. If she doesn't care, then leave her alone. We don't need her. That's what pisses me off the most, the fact that she looks like she could not care at all. Like she's like when like Taika Waititi was being all melodramatic and like handing her the hammer, everyone was cheering. She just like, yay. I'm like, fuck you. Fuck you. I'm so annoyed. And like their chemistry between her and Thor was just not good. Not good. I'm still excited for the movie. It sounds like I'm not. I'm just not excited about her. It's like, take her out. This is my most anticipated, well, second most anticipated movie of all this announcements, because Taika Waititi's back and we're getting a Thor before movie, dude. That's awesome. Because Thor Ragnarok is one of my favorite MCU movies. Hilarious. It actually started the development of Hulk that I've been waiting to see since Hulk's been on screen, where he talks and like they become one, and like that started that arc, and I'm really happy that we got that. I want to see more Chris Hemsworth being Chris Hemsworth at his best when he's being funny. But I just hope she's not like a recurring character, like because
Oh, I think
heard
she will. I think she'll be a part of it. I think
no
she'll be. Go ahead.
no you go.
No, I think she'll be, because I think Thor wants to play Like I think Chris Hemsworth wants to play Thor forever, and so I'm fine with that. But I want Thor to take more of his Odin role in the MCU. Of he'll show up whenever he needs to show up, but he'll be fine. I want him because Taika Waititi also like teased that Beta Ray Bill will be in this movie, which I want Beta Ray Bill so bad. So Thor could give Beta Ray Bill Stormbreaker. He could give Jane Foster Mjolnir, and then he could take his place as like the Allfather, and they all three could work together, and I think it would work really, really, really
If
well.
the three of them literally have a fight scene together, I'm not gonna lie, I might squeal like a little girl. I might
Yeah,
piss
oh yeah, I
myself.
would.
This is
Just
a really interesting podcast.
yeah,
everyone.
so yeah, dude, definitely really excited to see what they do with that. I just hope, Jane Foster actually seems like she cares and actually wants to be there. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
So what's next?
that was it.
No,
Well,
no,
that
okay.
was
Okay, let's
that
go
was
over
the
two.
last for Phase 4.
The,
Yeah, that was
the,
the last
the
for Phase 4.
the official stuff, the announced stuff. Okay, I know these two like the back of my hand. So, Blade, motherfucker! Yeah, dude, Blade.
Yeah, I know.
Blade. I'm so effing excited that Blade is going to be in the MCU, dude. I'm so happy that he's going to be. Like, I never thought it was going to happen. This is the one thing for sure I did not know was going to happen. Because all the other stuff I saw coming from a mile away. This was a surprise.
And
Th-
for Blade.
Dude, I just so excited. Like the
And
fact
like the way that Kevin Feige handled like his last statement completely brought everything down. Because he was like, because we didn't even have time to talk about Captain Marvel 2, Black Panther 2, Guardians 3, and then he just like he throws out there Fantastic Four mutants, but then he's like, but we're gonna show you this, and then the Blade logo drops, and I was like, wait, why is Blade in there, and two, I never thought I would need to see a Blade movie until they actually announced it, and now I'm super like I want to see this movie so bad now.
Now, like, this is probably never going to happen, but we said that about Blade, too. Like, me personally. I want Ghost Rider to get off that Hulu shit. Get off that crap. I want him and Ghost Rider and Blade together fighting monsters. I want to see these two form a team together and get like a supernatural Avengers thing going. That would be the coolest thing.
We talked about on our podcast that we want to see them start to establish, maybe not in the first Blade movie, but like in the second and third Blade movie, the Marvel Knights. So like
Yes!
Let Moon Knight show up in this. Let like you said, let Ghost Rider show up in this. After you're able to use them, let Punisher and Daredevil show up in this as the two characters from the Netflix shows. Let all four or five of these characters be the Marvel Knights, and let them go and do some of the craziest stuff out there, because it would be so interesting and so awesome.
100%.
And this movie, Blade, needs to be the first R-rated MCU movie. It has to be.
See, that's the thing. I don't think they're gonna go there, but if they do, they are showing the balls that Disney's growing. They're like this. Earlier we were prepubescent, dude. We were just like, hey, little Timmy. Now after Blade comes out, they're like, yo, what's up, motherfucker? And it's like, I want to see that.
I think Blade is one of those characters though that like you could make his movies rated R, but he could show up in the Avengers-esque movies or team-up movies that are PG-13 and fit in just fine.
See, I think this is not a similar case of like Deadpool, where Deadpool has to be rated R. I think it will work. It just won't be as, special.
You're taking something away from the character if you don't.
See, what makes Blade is the violence, the gore.
Yeah.
But if you take out the gore, I mean, you're not losing too much, because he's not like a foul. He's not swearing every 15 seconds like Deadpool does.
He's not a merc with a mouth.
Yeah. So I feel like you can still get away with a PG-13 rating. It just has to be a hard PG-13. So I won't be like traumatized if it's PG-13. But I would like if they announce rated R, I'll be relatively happy. So I mean, the casting is perfect. I never thought I would see, what's his name, Mahershala Ali. Is that his
Yeah,
name? Yeah.
yeah,
I never thought of Cottonmouth being Blade. Like beforehand, it was all just like, oh, Wesley Snipes, and that's it. Wesley Snipes,
yeah,
no more, no less. This casting comes out, I'm like, wow. That's
yeah.
wow. Yeah, just get the Owen Wilson.
Wow,
Wow, wowzers.
wow.
Wow. It's such a perfect casting. I like
It is.
you gotta give Marvel credit. Their casting team on fire, dude. They can't do no
Yeah,
wrong. They're like, yo, hold my beer. We'll get you someone real quick. Congratulations. They got a great star. I hope this does come out Phase 4. Um, if not Phase 5, I want it to be the opening of Phase 5 and just go more supernatural. And I want to see more supernatural elements. Yes, we got the mystic arts of Doctor Strange, but I want to see them go hella crazy. It'll be really weird seeing vampires in the MCU. Like
I know, but it's gonna be.
yeah,
Bring it.
it
Just bring
started
it.
with a guy in a cave. It started with a guy in a cave making a metal armor suit. Now there's vampires, space stones, guys casting fucking magic with a sling ring, and then you got a chick literally about to crush Thanos with her fucking magic wandy hands. Like woo! Like this universe is so diverse, and this is what they can do. They literally can do whatever the fuck they want. And everyone's like, it's the MCU. What did you expect? Literally, it's a
Right,
living comic book. It's a living comic book, except with where continuity actually does matter, and where you don't have to read
right.
issue 37 of like the fucking Spider Hamling issue. You don't have to do that. You just watch the 20-some movies. You don't even have to watch all the movies either. You just gotta pick up from that movie and you'll be fine. And if you like it, guess what? You're gonna want to watch the entire
You
MCU.
got 20 other movies to watch.
Yeah, you got 20 other movies to watch, so you're fine. You'll be fine, buddy.
Exactly.
But yeah, like my one friend, old friend, I should say, was constantly bitching about the MCU. He's like, he didn't even watch half the MCU movies. He was sitting there like, oh, I don't want to watch this because it's just set up, or I don't even want to watch Avengers 2 because like I'm not gonna get it because I didn't watch like Iron Man 3. I'm like, fuck you, dude. You don't even watch them, so you can't complain about this shit that you don't even know exists or not. So
Right.
this is not one of those things where you have to watch Iron Man 1, 2, and 3 in order to get freaking Avengers 2. But will it help? Yeah, you'll see things kind of closing up like an arc and stuff like that. But you're not gonna be lost or anything like that.
Right, right.
Okay, now let's talk a little bit about something I hope does come out at the end of Phase 4. The Fantastic Four. The
Yes.
Fantastic Four is something that we all saw coming, but it's glad that we got a confirmation stamp on it. And the fan casting right now that everyone's going for is Emily Blunt and John Krasinski. Never thought of it, but that is perfect casting. A, because they are
It is.
already married, and they look
Yep.
like the cast. They look like the characters, and it's crazy when you think about it because they're the right age. I don't want to see tweens being my fucking elderly Fantastic Four. They're in like their 30s and 40s. These guys in the comics. So let's get them in their 30s and 40s. Oh, but we won't have them for fucking 35 years. Who gives a shit? Imagine seeing a fucking 60-year-old Mr. Fantastic. He's sitting there like, oh, my
all for it.
arthritis, and he's fucking trying to
I'm all
stretch
for
and
it.
shit. Yeah, dude. Like, plus, let's be honest here. This phase ended after 10, 11 years. We're not gonna need him for 20, okay? Just we need him for
No,
10.
yeah.
Yeah, so get him when he turns 50, then retire them. Kill them off or retire them. Who cares? Who cares? Because guess what? You got fucking 900 other characters you can choose from. Who cares? Anything's at your disposal now that you own every single Marvel character. You're not owning half. You own everything. You are the Empire. Act like it. Step up. Step
Well,
up,
except
Disney.
for Spider-Man. They don't know everything about. They don't know all the Spider-Man
Clo-
entities yet.
well, yeah, we'll get into that.
They own 3/4 of the world.
Yeah, because Spider-Man is literally my everything.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say about Blade or Fantastic Four?
I just. This is awesome. Like we're seeing the Fantastic Four now in the MCU. We're gonna see Kevin Feige name dropped the mutants, so we're gonna see mutants in the MCU. I wonder if they're gonna start calling Scarlet Witch a mutant now. That would be very interesting to see if they actually start calling her that. But yeah, like this is a very, very exciting time to see all this. Plus, like Captain Marvel 2 may be the Secret Invasion story, which is going to be awesome. We're going to get like Black Panther 2, which I hope shows Namor as like the villain. Guardians 3, which will have like Adam Warlock in it. Plus Spider-Man 3, whenever it comes out, like there's just going to be a whole lot of other stuff coming out very, very soon that is very, very exciting. And the future of the MCU is not in any harm at all. Like it's actually very, very well taken care of.
Yeah, it's healthy, it's thriving. We've grown to the part where we're not seeing the old selves. We got out of high school of the MCU. Now you're saying goodbye to your old friends, and now you're going to start making new ones. So this next couple of phases are going to be the college years, where you're self-discovering yourself, and then after that it'll be your midlife crisis, and then it's going to be your elder years. And then when you're done with the elder years, the MCU will be officially dead. You know why? Because we either nuked ourselves or the fucking, like a meteor just came and crashed and killed us all. Because the MCU will never truly die as long as there's people alive.
Right.
Yeah. So now I want to get into what I discussed earlier. Spider-Man is bae, dude. Spider-Man is bae. Spider-Man is my life. You showed up at the right time because now we're going to be dedicating the final part of this podcast to Spider-Man. What is his future? What is it going to be like? Because a lot of people are sitting there wondering, is Spider-Man going to leave the MCU? And like, what's going to happen? Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to say this. Spider-Man ain't leaving shit. Let me tell you why. Spider-Man Far From Home, literally just crossed $1 billion like a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's that. They're making money on that end. Venom made $800 million. Never saw that coming, but whatever. It made $800 million. It made more than Wonder Woman, a freaking icon to the Justice League. She's the main three, the third most iconic superhero in DC. Venom made more than her. Mind blowing. Okay, and then you have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Didn't make a lot of money, but now guess what? It's a basically, I wouldn't say it's going to be the golden standard of Spider-Man movies. So now Sony on their own end has got the Spider-Verse thing going for them. They got the Venomverse thing going for them. While they're producing that and they're focusing their attention on that, they're sharing Spider-Man in the MCU. Why the fuck would they want that? Why would they ruin that? That's just putting more work on themselves. They're like, why fix what's not broken? They're like, okay, before the MCU deal and the whole sharing thing happened, they were focusing on one Spider-Man universe. Now they're focusing on two. Well, a third Spider-Man universe is going on in the MCU, where they're paying attention to it, yes, but they're sharing the load. Why would they take that pressure onto themselves where they're developing 3 different universes at once? It literally makes no sense. Just relax. Spider-Man ain't going nowhere. Now, if Venom bombed at the box office, we would have been having a completely different discussion. Completely. If Venom bombed, Spider-Verse alone would not be able to hold Spider-Man into the MCU. Spider-Verse would not be able to do that because it didn't make a lot of money. It made money, but it didn't make a lot of money. But the fact that Venom more than doubled its budget back, that tells you something.
Which is weird because Venom's such a weird character to make that much money.
Yeah, I never saw that coming. I barely saw it making 400. I saw it making 420. I think that was my initial prediction. I think we were to probably start doing that too the week before big movies come out. Guess how much it's going to make. I think I'm going to start doing that just because I think that would be a cool little element to have. But I predicted it was going to make 420. It doubled that. Holy shit. It's like, I never saw that coming. If you say, oh, you saw it coming, fuck you, you liar. You're a lying sack of shit. You literally eat dog shit for breakfast. So sit down, relax. You didn't see it coming. Unless you're one of those people that predict everything's going to make $1 billion. If it doesn't make $1 billion, you're like, oh, what went wrong? Fuck you. It's $1 billion. It's like, there's some people like that. Some people ask me, like, it didn't make $1 billion. What went wrong? What went wrong? What went right? That's the real question.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. So Spider-Man is going to stay in the MCU just for those standards. But what's the future? This is what I want to ask you. What do you see coming for Spider-Man into the MCU, and what do you see Spider-Man going into the Spider-Verse? And that face. We'll start from the beginning for now because we still got some talking to do. But anyway, um, what do you see happening in each universe with Spider-Man and stuff like that? I want to hear your predictions.
With all three universes, like Venom, Spider Verse, and then MCU,
Yeah, what do you see? What do you see his future like?
I see MCU Spider Man is going to be just fine. I think he might be the first to have 6 movies of his own, if not more.
Yes,
Um,
I want
I
that too.
because I was a huge fan of Homecoming. Far From Home became one of my top 5 favorite MCU movies of all time.
100%.
Um,
100%.
Fantastic movie. Tom Holland embodies who Spider-Man is. I don't care if you thought Tobey Maguire's better. I don't care if you think Andrew Garfield's better. Tom Holland gets both Peter Parker and Spider-Man right. He gets both aspects perfectly right. I'm a huge fan of Zendaya as MJ. I love Ned. I love the entire cast. It works really, really well. It's fantastic. It's very interesting. The MCU Spider-Man's fine. He's going to be the face of the entire MCU for a very long time.
Yeah.
Um, the Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, I think, is going to be just fine as well because the first one may not have made a whole lot of money, but if they make a second one, it's going to make some money because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people have watched it on Netflix now and absolutely loved it. So I think it's going to be fine. Venom, on the other hand, I think Venom's going to slowly start to downfall, and I don't know what they're going to do with Venom because Venom is such a weird character to build a universe off of. I just don't see a whole lot with Venom. I wasn't a huge fan of the Venom movie. I thought it was just okay. It wasn't like the worst thing in the world, but it wasn't good either. Um, so I kind of see it kind of falling a little bit. I really hope they don't try to force Venom into the MCU because I just don't know how well that actually will work all that well. But I could see them actually doing that. So I think everything's going to be fine. I just don't know about Venom. Venom's the only one that I think might struggle a little bit and not do that well with.
Yeah, I want to kind of mirror your thoughts on Venom. Venom, okay, I'll say the first two acts were good enough, but the third act was probably the worst thing I've ever seen,
You couldn't
visually
see
and
what was going
screenwriting.
on.
Yeah, you're literally shooting in the middle of night, right, with a black CGI character and a white CGI character. And the editing was so fast paced. The cinematography was absolute garbage. You couldn't. I thought I was gonna die of a fucking seizure watching that shit. I just couldn't. I'm just trying to comprehend what the hell's going on. I thought it was Matt Murdock for a second. I'm like, where did the lights go? What happened? Like I just couldn't comprehend anything that was going on. So that I thought was all right. I would probably skip the final act, uh, but I see, like you said, the Venomverse kind of going down. Depends on what Morbius does. If you guys don't know,
Yeah,
Morbius is like a vampire hunter character who is also a vampire, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know too much about him either, but he is a Spider-Man villain. If that does well and it gets like good amount of box office, I see that being fine enough for a while at least. They gotta step up their game with the quality because holy shit, man, they gotta fix their shit and they can't interfere like they did with Venom because they interfered a lot with Venom. They're like
Yeah,
originally it was supposed to be R and then they changed it last second. Whatever bullshit. Don't interfere with your movie, especially when you initially agreed to be rated R. That would piss me
yeah,
off. You tell me, okay, here's your budget, make it rated R, go ahead, go ham. And then in the middle of production, you tell me it's got to be PG-13. Literally suck a dick. I'll tell them to go fuck themselves, and if they want to fire me, go ahead. Go ahead, fire me. Because I'm not dealing with that stress. But going to the MCU Spider-Man, I agree with the cast. The supporting cast is incredible. I love them. At first, I wasn't sure how I felt about Zendaya, especially in Homecoming, because I'm like, if that's MJ. I'm not a fan. But then I saw that, like in Far From Home, they kind of explained that it was her going through a phase. It was her just putting on this tough person act, like, and then because when she was facing death, blah 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 blah. I'm not gonna get into it. She kind of revealed that it was her putting on an act, and it just because it made her feel powerful. that put a dimension to her that made me think she can be a great MJ, a great
Yeah,
MJ, especially because like the second that tough person act went down, I loved her. I thought she was
yeah,
incredible, and I added depth. And like, I don't have to say anything about the rest of the cast because they're just incredible. They're great supporting cast. Tom Holland was born to be this role. He's a great Spider-Man. Even though I wasn't rooting for him to be Spider-Man, I was going for Ozzy Butterfield because I knew him. I didn't know who Tom Holland was until I watched The Impossible or something like that, the disaster movie that he was in. Um,
yeah.
yeah, then I saw that. I was like, yeah, he's a pretty good choice. Not bad, not bad. But he blew my expectations out the wazoo, dude. He was incredible.
Yeah, he
Um,
was.
yeah, and you're right. I hope they do 6 movies. Shit, I hope they do 9 movies. And I don't want to see more than
I'm
nine
fine if they
movies.
want to put him in like 18 movies. Like he's. I think he'll be the most reoccurring character in the entire MCU.
He's got to be because he's like literally for the longest time has been the face of Marvel Comics for the
And he's already
longest
been
time.
in like what? He's been in 5 movies. He was in Civil
Okay,
War, Homecoming,
Far From
Endgame,
Home.
Infinity War, Far From Home. He's been in 5 movies
Yeah, so he's been
already.
in, yeah. I want to see him do team up movies. I want him to see him occur in other like solo movies. Just like yo, what's up? I want to see him being a lot, and then I wanted to see him in his own solo movies as well. Because I want the first trilogy to be all about high school, the second trilogy be him in college, and the third trilogy is him in his later years, getting ready
Yeah,
to like kind of pass the torch to like Miles Morales and stuff like that. And he doesn't even have to pass the torch, just like train Miles Morales. And if they go with what they kind of do in the comics when he trains Miles Morales, I'll cry because in the comics when he trains Miles Morales, he eventually gets fucking mauled, not killed, but mauled by Green Goblin. And not the Green Goblin
yeah,
y'all probably are thinking, oh, I'm like Spider-Verse Green Goblin. Like he's a fucking bear, giant. He
yeah,
gets shredded by him, and then Miles Morales has got to pick up the reins. I want to see something like that. Not that particular, because I would be in tears. I'll be crying like a little girl. I don't want to see that, but I want to see where those set of trilogies work out, because I think that would be really cool having 3 trilogies with an MCU character, and it is possible as long as Sony plays ball with them. And because let's
yeah,
be honest, Kevin Feige's like, yeah, this is more iconic than Iron Man. He might not be more iconic now because like Iron Man literally built up the MCU and that's all people can freaking talk about. Everyone's saying like rest in peace Iron Man, blah blah. Fuck off! Like you didn't know Iron Man before the movie started. Screw you. Spidey is where it's at. Spidey is my man. Spidey is life. Spider-Man should take over the world. Spidey for President 2020. Quote me here. I love Spider-Man to death, and he's gonna have a long, successful future. And with the Spider-Verse, it's interesting to see where they're gonna take that because I'm pretty sure the second movie is gonna focus on Spider-Gwen and Miles Morales. I hope 2049 Spider-Man is that the year 2099 Spider-Man. I think that's what it is.
yeah,
2099 Spider-Man. I think his first name is Miguel. I want to see him in that movie
yeah.
because, especially because of that end credit scene, greatest end credit scene of all time. Changed my mind.
Yes.
Literally, it was the first end credit scene that was literally a meme, a pre-existing meme. Loved it. Like who pointed first? I don't know. And he's just like you got Spider-Man 2099 just like jumping up and down. It's like you pointed first. Fucking great, great. I want to see them interact. I want to see a lot more Spider-Man, especially because Spider-Man 2099 was outside the original suit. Spider-Man 2099 was my favorite design.
Yeah.
I love that design. It's so unique, and I loved it. Any final thoughts on Spider-Man and the MCU?
No, I'm just really, really excited to see his future, like his entire future in the MCU. It can only go up from here. He's doing fantastic stuff. Yeah, it's just the way that they ended Far From Home and how they use Spider-Man as a platform to launch everything else is so smart and it's done very well. So I'm very excited to see what they do with him.
Yeah, there's I've said this a lot, so I'm just gonna say it one more time. The MCU has opened Pandora's box, and now they have an infinite supply of content at their fingertips.
Yeah,
We have literally a century's worth of content to be made, and Kevin Feige knows that, and he wants to play it smart and strategically. we're not. He's like, I don't want to be like the X-Men where I have to fucking go back in time and reboot every 10 years. I don't want to do that because there's so much to tell, and that's true. Like imagine like a Spider-Man Deadpool movie, imagine a Spider-Man Wolverine movie, a Deadpool Wolverine movie. All that is going to be interesting. And like imagine like
Yeah.
they end up recasting Wolverine and they do a Deadpool Wolverine movie, which the content will write itself. And Ryan Reynolds, all he would say is like, "You're not my Wolverine." And he's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" He's like, "Where's
Yeah.
Hugh?" Hugh, and that's the entire movie. He'd like every once in a while you see him looking under a crack. He's like, "Hugh, are you there?" Just like,
Yeah.
I think that'll be amazing. And then you have Hugh in the background, and he's like, "Hugh, I found you." He's like, "Who the hell are you?" He's like,
Yeah.
"Let's just snap out of it." Like, there's so much to do, and the next big question that everyone's asking is Deadpool going to be in the MCU? I don't know why people keep asking that, but I think it's been reassured that it's not. He's going to be in his own universe. If anything, he's going to be in the X-Men universe or whatever the hell is going to go on. Because when they first announced that they were making more Deadpool movies with Ryan Reynolds and it was going to be rated R, that was under the Fox banner, not under the Disney banner, and the Disney banner is the MCU itself. So I don't know. Is it possible? Yeah. Is it doubtful? I think Deadpool will not touch the MCU, which I'm a little sad, just specifically because I want to see a Deadpool Spider-Man movie so badly.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, me too. That'd be
yeah,
dope.
yeah, because I have a comic actually in my room right now with Spider-Man and Deadpool, and I never laughed so hard reading a comic book or just a book in general in my life. It
Yeah.
starts off with them chained together, and they're like it looks like they're upright though, and Spider-Man simply says, "Every time I'm with you, you get me into some form of trouble." And then he's like, yeah, your spandex is like rubbing against my crotch, dude. Like, stop that. And then like the comic, like the next page is literally a full page of them upside down, chained together, off a fucking like 900-story ceiling in hell. And they're surrounded by
Yeah.
lava and demons are circling them. He's like, and then Spider-Man simply says, "I hate you." And it's so good. It was so good because I didn't see it coming. It was quality content. Just imagine a movie with Spidey and Deadpool trapped in hell because of what Deadpool did, because he made a deal with the
Yeah.
devil. Oh, I would love it so much. Any final thoughts on any of the topics I brought up or that we talked about that you want to mention before we head out?
No, I think I've covered it all.
Yeah, dude, I'm super excited for the future. The MCU is looking lively and healthy. Can't wait to see what they do with Spider-Man. But that will do it for today's podcast, guys. Thank you guys so much for staying and listening to us just bicker about nerdy shit so much. Andy, where can the guys find you?
You can find us on Twitter at Dorks Next Door. Take out the E from next. Our podcast is on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Play. It comes out normally every Friday, but due to some scheduling conflicts and things like that, it's coming out today, probably this evening, where we're giving our thoughts on Phase 4 as well, plus in-game passing Avatar and then Spider-Man Far From Home hitting $1 billion. So we talk about that a lot. Then also on YouTube, where we go live mainly every Tuesday. Dorks Next Door. You can follow us there, subscribe to us there, and yeah, we're always there doing new stuff.
Again, thank you guys so much for sticking around. Let me know in the comments. Tweet to me at Gumps_videos. You can, and Instagram's pretty much gone now, so whatever. Just go tweet to me at Gumps_videos, GUMPS_videos. If you like the content you see here or you comment down below, just let me know because I really like this kind of style. As soon as I just figure out there were some issues, but it's my first time, so there was bound to be issues. It went a lot smoother than I thought, so that's good. Yeah, I didn't even think this shit was gonna record. So hey, everything went well in my book. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit the freaking bell so you get the notifications when I'm live. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe on the crap. Later and goodbye.